Hey everybody, welcome back to Sons of Cinema. My name is Ron, and with me is Michael Entity, and today's review will be on the 2026 action movie, The Furious. Now, a brief synopsis on this film is basically about a man who is he's a deaf and single father, and his daughter's kidnapped, and he has to basically find his daughter and kick the crap out of everybody who's taken his daughter. And it looks like his daughter's been taken into a child's abduction ring. I don't know if it's a sex ring or just they're working or what, but that's the basic premise of the story. Sir, how did you like this movie?
I really enjoyed it. It definitely does feel like a nice little throwback to a lot of like early kung fu movies, specifically like '90s ones or like '80s and '90s with like Police Story with Jackie Chan, a lot of Jet Li's movies. I mean, obviously, we get a lot of kung fu movies, still to this day. So it's not something that's
Mhm.
been gone for a while, but it's been a while since I've seen a kung fu movie get this much hype in the US as well. I really enjoyed it. I saw it the day after I saw Toy Story 5. Which, by the way, guys, if you were really looking forward to seeing Toy Story 5 this weekend and the next weekend, sorry, the weekend before and next weekend, I'd say go see it, but definitely don't miss the Furious because I don't know how long this is going to play in theaters. It seems like it's getting a small limited time release. So please go see this movie, go support it because you can never go wrong with kung fu movies, man.
Before we get into some particulars about the movie, I loved it too, and I'm a huge fan of kung fu movies, but I'm dating back to like the old '70s chop sake movies. I
Yeah.
was really into those films, but I think obviously as time has gone on, kung fu movies, karate movies have gotten way better. Uh, I think that the Asians take it up a step. The
Hmm.
the the stunts that they do, you're like sometimes you're like, damn, how did the person not like hurt themselves doing that shit? But
Yeah, no
I'm sure they
shit.
have more lax rules. But anyway, this movie, I'm a big Raid 2 guy. I love the Raid and the Raid 2, and this movie, I think, boy, it could be better than the Raid 2, and we will discuss why in a little bit. But again, I loved it too, man, and like it's definitely going to go on my shelf. So we basically start off in the film where, and it starts right away too. Like I think his
Yeah, almost,
daughter's
almost,
kidnapped.
almost instantly.
Yeah, his daughter's kidnapped right away by. She's set up by this other little kid who has a limp, and he goes to her and says like, he needs help. That his aunt or something was in an accident. So this little kid goes. The daughter goes in to help this little boy, and she gets kidnapped, and that begins. In fact, it's probably when we talk about scenes later. This is probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie. This fight that they have when he's trying to run and fight these guys while she's in this truck. What did you think of that scene?
I thought it was really cool. Like when it comes to kung fu movies, you have to kind of throw your brain to the side, but not fully to the point where you just turn off your brain. Because obviously, in these kinds of movies, there are going to be certain things that happen where I don't care what your adrenaline rush is, there are certain things that just would not happen. I mean, I think it's really crazy how this motherfucker runs like a gazelle, even with flip flops on. But there is I thought it was a really badass sequence all the way through. I thought that it was awesome. I do find it very interesting though how this dude literally gets hit by a car, and sure he's bruised up and everything, but he gets up like he just tripped rather than just, hey, I just got hit by a fucking 500-pound car, but yet, or like 1,000-pound car, and yet I'm just gonna limp barely without like having a bunch of broken bones and stuff. I don't know. I've never been hit by a car, but that was probably one of the only parts where I was like, I don't know about that. But again, it's a kung fu movie. So there are certain things where you just kind of have to go, whatever. But overall, I think this movie has some incredible fight sequences, some of the best I've ever seen. And I know there's definitely a lot more better ones, but this movie, the fight choreograph in this film, it's so insane to the point where there are fight sequences that go on for like almost a good 10 minutes, but you never pay attention to how long it is because you're just so enthralled by the choreographed fight sequences in this.
Right.
And obviously it looked like the actor did the sequences himself, because just holy shit.
Yeah, that'll bring me to so the stars of this movie. The main star, his character's name is Wang Wei, and he's played by Mo Tsu. It's Tse. I'm sorry, I can't say that right. It also stars Joe Taslim. Now, Joe Taslim is in a great show, if you've ever seen it, called Warrior. It was on Showtime, and I think it's on Netflix now. The whole series. It's about the revolution in the 1800s of where all the Chinese immigrants were coming over and building the railroads in San Francisco, and that's the basic premise. And in San Francisco, they actually had Asian gangs, and these Asian gangs were full of martial artists that would fight each other. So that's a really great show. He stars in this, and then the other guy that I love is this guy that was in the Raid 2 in the kitchen scene, and he's Yan Ru Ayan, and he's awesome. Now, when he first comes on scene, he's the guy with the bow and arrow in this film. So in this film, he just basically goes around. He's the quiet badass, basically, where he just goes around shooting people with arrows. But once you see him, and if you know him as the actor, you're like, oh shit, he's going to be in the end kicking some ass. And it does, work out that way. But some of my thoughts on the films, besides those two good actors, you can't have a movie like this without a nightclub scene too. Did you notice there was a kung fu fight in a nightclub? What were some of the things that?
What's up with that, man? Not even just kung fu movies. Why is it that all action movies have at least one fight sequence in a nightclub? Why is that? Is that just a popular trend?
It looks cool.
It does look cool. I mean, bro, there's even a nightclub fight scene in the Batman.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's just one of those things where you can make it look cool with the lighting, and maybe it's cheap. Well, you're a director, so would you think that it's maybe something that's easily budgeted because you're containing it in a room and you just got to make it look like a bar with lighting? I don't know.
I think it's also just the aesthetic of it too. The fact that it just looks badass in general. I think that's kind of just what it comes down to. It just looks really cool. And now that I think about it, thinking about that, I'm just like, almost every famous action movie has one nightclub scene, specifically like beat 'em up action.
Yeah, those are actually some of my favorite scenes ever in movies. I could name a shit ton of those, but I don't want to get into that. What were some of the things you liked about this movie, Matt?
I thought the story for the most part was done very well. I thought it was contained, and you understand the relationship between the father and the daughter, and you're automatically on board right from the point when she's kidnapped, because earlier in the movie, at first we're introduced to a different character, a woman who's also a journalist, who I guess knows kung fu as well. Apparently everybody in this movie also just knows kung fu just for the hell of it, but you're automatically—
That's the world I want to live in.
I know, right? Where everybody just knows kung fu. It reminds me of, even though I know a lot of people kind of have a mixed thing about this movie, in The Karate Kid with Jaden Smith, there's a part where Jaden Smith is going like, "Hey, Mom, I'm going to learn some kung fu from Mr. Han." And then she's like, "Mr. Han, the maintenance guy?" And then Jaden Smith goes, "It's China, Mom. Everyone knows kung fu." I'm like, okay, well, I mean, all right, well, you got me there.
It's a cool stereotype, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great sequences. Of course, the nightclub scene. I think the story for the most part is really good. It's simple. It's just a father trying to get his daughter back, and you can easily really connect with that, even if you're not a parent. That's a storyline that has always kind of worked, whether it's a father getting their daughter back or a child getting their parent back.
Right.
I mean, just something about an action movie that involves kin that works all
right.
I mean, that was literally what my first movie was, an uncle trying to find his niece. So, it's one of those storylines that I think always works. And I think having this in the center of a kung fu movie is what gives it emotional weight, but also makes it entertaining. Because a lot of kung fu movies are mostly just known for their fight sequences. But then when you think about the story surrounding the fight sequences, the story is like really nothing crazy to write home about. I mean, the Raid and the Raid 2, those are awesome fucking movies, but the story itself, you're not really there for
Simple.
the story. But for
Yeah.
this, even though there's not a whole lot of depth, there's still enough to the point where you can still care about these characters and it could still be a good movie even if there was no fight sequences.
As a parent, there are some emotional scenes in this, because of
Absolutely, there are.
yeah. I mean, who wouldn't go through heaven and earth to go save their child from abduction? So that's one element of the movie. The other element is what you had just brought up, is that at the beginning of the movie we see this lady, and I believe there were reporters too. So I think
Yeah,
that's
she was a
what's even
journalist.
I think so was Joe Taslim, who plays Naven. So this is almost like also kind of a buddy cop movie,
Yeah,
because
kind of.
yeah, because this guy Joe, so he comes into the movie as this badass. We don't really know who he is at first. I almost thought he was maybe CIA or something, because he's trying to
Yeah,
infiltrate
he's
the
yeah,
gang.
he's kind of on his own mission. It's almost kind of like two
Right,
separate stories going on. They just so
right,
happen to meet around the same time.
right. And so his wife is actually this person in the beginning who gets. We don't know if she's murdered, but we don't see it. But I think they reveal later that dude from the Raid 2 killed her. So the whole premise of his part of the story is he's looking for his wife. He doesn't know she's dead yet. Spoilers. And once that's revealed, then just all hell breaks loose. He doesn't care anymore. He's just going to just destroy everybody. But he teams up with this Wang Wei to, because he's looking for his daughter. So there's two halves of this film that we're looking at, but when they come together, it becomes a very simple story. They both have their mission, and they're going at it. What were some other things you liked about the film, man?
I do like the fact that both of these characters are kind of on their own separate mission, while at
Mhm.
the same time they're also on the same mission because they're fucking up all these horrible people. Because they do a very good job at just making you want to see these people suffer. They don't give the
Mhm.
villains any crazy backstories or anything. They're just terrible people, and you want to see them die. And I wanted all of them to die. And there were so many moments that were definitely satisfying, but got annoying in the best way possible, where motherfuckers would get hit with sledgehammers, they would have their teeth broken, and they would still get up. It's like, Jesus Christ, are you guys just taking adrenaline shots every time you get punched? It was like a psh, psh. It's like, bro, like, what are you guys doing, man? Like, getting hit with a sledgehammer, like, oh man. But there's a lot of great fight sequences in this. I do kind of like the buddy cop aspect. Well, I say buddy cop, even though it's not really a buddy cop movie, but you can kind of say something similar. I do like the
Right,
buddy aspect between these two guys, where they're not necessarily like friends and they don't really connect as friends even towards the end of the movie. They're
right.
just two guys. They're just two guys who understand both each other's pain, and they don't, like I said, there's not really a schmaltzy cute little friend moment where they officially connect and everything. They're just two guys that agree to help each other because they have to go through the same situation. And that's what I like. I also like the fact, spoilers, I like the fact that this movie doesn't end with the father finding his daughter and they make up and everything like that. He actually finds his daughter within the course of an hour, and we still have
Mhm.
like at least 45 minutes left. Because if at that point you would think, oh, this is where the movie's going to end, everything's okay. That's not where it ends. In fact, it gets to the point where even the daughter becomes involved with the action. And I thought the actress that played the daughter did a pretty damn good job, actually.
Yeah, her and the little kid who was the main boy that actually got her trapped in the first
Yeah,
place.
the bait,
He
the
was
bait.
really good too.
I like to call him the bait.
The bait, yeah. I Another thing that I really dug about this movie is we're moving on to Brian Lee. Now, Brian Lee in this movie, he is like basically the unstoppable force. Every kung fu movie's got to have that guy that can take, like you were saying, sledgehammers to the head, fucking losing their teeth, getting stabbed and fucking in the neck, and they're still just kicking the shit out of. They never
Exactly.
stop, and he becomes an actual important part in this film. He's basically a goon for one of the kind of like the middle. man in all this with the kidnapping of the kids, and he's really loyal to this guy. Well, that guy gets kind of killed and ixnayed in kind of middle of the film, and then the rest of the film, this guy Brian Lee is trying to avenge that guy. So he comes into the mix later on, but we'll get to that. But he was really awesome in this movie. Again, this is typical. You've got a guy who's a total badass who can't be stopped. You've got the quiet guy that you really don't know nothing about. He's got all these skills in the main character, and you're like, okay. And then you've got the other kind of guy in the Joe Haslam or Taslim character. He's like the kind of like the in between that gives. He's trying to give a little bit of, I think, humor in his performance, but this ain't a funny movie by any means. There's maybe I don't even remember laughing at all. Like I know Asian films and these Chinese films in particular do try to add a little of their own type of comedy to it, but nothing really hit for me. I don't know if the comedy came in the form of the kids, but what did you think of Brian Lee's character?
I thought his character was really cool. I was very surprised in how they handled it because, as I said, in a lot of these kung fu movies, it's all about the action. It's not really about, but it's a lot of the little things that they do with some of these characters, especially with Brian Lee and a lot of the other actors in this movie. It's the little things they do with these characters that make it stand out from other people. Where it's just like, hey, I'm a badass. I'm just going to kick these people's asses. There's definitely a lot more care given into this movie with the characters, and I think they do a really damn good job with it. I mean, it's to the point where it could be opened up for a sequel. I would love to see these characters again, especially Wang Wei. Is that his name?
Yeah, Wang Wei. Yeah,
I would like to see him in another movie. I don't know what they could do if it would be like another kidnapping story, but there's definitely an opportunity to maybe turn this into a really awesome franchise.
Well, they could reveal to everybody in a sequel who and what he is. Like, where did he come from? You could do a prequel with this. He's not an old looking guy, so you could technically do a prequel to find out, where this guy came from. Maybe he became deaf during some kind of whatever. He's clearly a badass. He can't now. I guess I can't say that because the other guy's a reporter, Navin, and he's just kicking the shit out of everybody too. So I was kind of thinking that maybe this guy was some kind of like special forces or something. But like you said, everyone in these films kind of knows how to how to throw hands, and so with Brian Lee's character, basically after we meet the middle management people in this ring, then we meet the upper management guys that are basically, what would you call them? Basically like a syndicate of dudes running shit, like mobsters. What would you call them?
Syndicate, mobster, smut peddler, whatever, human trafficker, whatever you want to call them.
Well, the interesting part of that is that, okay, so the main guys in this syndicate didn't know about the kids' shit. So I guess I should explain. So then we're introduced to the upper management, and it's the son of this guy who's one of the leaders in this syndicate, and he's the one who has his own personal badass with that dude from the Raid 2, and he's doing this basically on his own. And the upper management guys, if you remember, the syndicate guys didn't know, and they were going to kill his ass. They were like, "You're on your own, bro. Like you're taking the heat for this, and you're out."
Right.
And we see the result of that. But so we meet this middle management, and essentially the kid, the son of this guy, he seems like a really nice guy. He's got glasses, and they make him kind of nerdy, and you don't expect what we get from him as well.
They definitely do something interesting that I wasn't expecting.
Not at all. So he basically, he has a wife who's pregnant. He's living the dream. He's the son of this leader of the syndicate, and once they find out that he is the one that's stealing kids and doing this child trafficking, they boot him out. Well, then we get the surprise of the film. So we've gone, maybe, like you said, once he gets his daughter back, I thought the movie was over too. And
Right.
actually looked at my watch. I'm like, damn, is this over already? And I was like, no, there's like 45 minutes left. So this guy goes ape shit, kills everyone in this room. He just goes like the quiet guy in the room, just suddenly kicks the shit out of everybody. He takes his glasses off like Clark Kent, puts them in his pocket, and just beats and kills everybody in the room. And then now we've got basically the setup for the final act.
Yeah, it's crazy. The guy with the glass. What was the? I can't remember his character's name. Forgive me, people. It is kind of hard to pronounce, like Chinese names. So.
Well, his name is actually it's easy. It's Joey Iwanga.
Joey Iwanga. Okay. What I really his character reminded me, even though it's a totally different movie, because like I said, this guy doesn't present himself as the way he presents himself later on. It reminded me, Ron, did you see a movie? I think it came out 2024, if I'm not mistaken. It's a movie called The Order with Jude Law.
Yes, I've seen that. Yeah.
Okay. It kind of reminded me, I mean, obviously that was a true story, so it's a little bit different, but they reminded me specifically of Nicholas Holt's character, where Nicholas Holt is this crazy white supremacist that robs banks and does a lot of horrible crimes. But then there's moments where you see him being like a loving father and like actually being like a legit good person. But then you forget, you see, oh wow, this guy's an awesome guy. But then you forget, oh my God, like this guy is actually like a crazy motherfucker. Which is kind of like what this guy is. Like there's moments where like you see him with his wife and he's like very happy, but then like the next scene after he's like a fucking psycho. And I love stuff like that. It definitely gives the villains a little bit more of a bite rather than just being I'm evil and I want to kill, ha 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 ha, that kind of shit.
But yeah, so it was a surprise that he took off his glasses. He kills everyone in the room. In a really sad moment, his wife tries to stop him, and he's in such a rage killing everyone that he has a knife and he just stabs her right in the stomach, and she's pregnant, and he kills his wife and child, and this sets him over the top. Now he doesn't give a shit about anything else except revenge and killing both Navin and Wang. And then it sets up the third act. So once we get to the warehouse, it's almost like they threw in kind of a rape scene where they're kicking the crap at everybody. They're fighting 1,000 dudes that awesome. Show up. Yeah, and so they're defending themselves, and it almost looks like they're going to lose too, because they're just overrun. And I think what happens was the police chief of this place, this city, whatever, he works for the syndicate, so he just lets them do whatever he wants. And the people under him, this lieutenant lady, says, screw it, we're going to go save these kids because these kids are trapped in this building and they can't get out. And they actually go and they start to arrest all these people. And that's when I thought, okay, it's over. Wow. I was like, that's kind of a weak ending, but
which by the way, speaking of that corrupt police captain, if this movie was made in America, that corrupt police captain would have been played by Don Johnson.
Yeah, definitely.
Don Johnson really has a thing for playing corrupt police officers. It's like his spiel.
He's awesome in Cell Block 999 and
Cell Block 99, Rebel Ridge.
Yes, Rebel Ridge, man. He's awesome in both of those movies, so I could totally see that. There doesn't need to be an American version of this film. There's enough English in it. Everyone speaks English for the most part. There are some subtitled parts because, again, these people live in China, so Wang doesn't speak, which is kind of a cool thing that they did because he's deaf, or he's mute, excuse me. So he uses sign language to talk. And that was kind of a cool element. Like, you didn't have to add anything to it.
Yeah, it reminded me. Did you ever see the movie? I think it was Joel Kinnaman. I think that's his name. Did you see the movie Silent Night?
I haven't seen that yet. Was it good?
I thought the action and everything was really well done. But basically, because what I'm trying to explain is the plot of that movie is that he's a father and his son is killed during a drive-by gang shooting, but his son wasn't involved in it. It was just an accidental shooting. And in the process of that, Joel Kinnaman decided to run after the guys who did it, and he ends up getting shot in the neck, which causes him to lose his voice. And from the trailers and everything, it seemed like a really cool idea. Like the idea that we get an action movie where the main character can't even speak and he can't even show like his true emotions anymore. But
Yeah.
what ruined that aspect of the movie is that even before he gets shot in the neck, there's no dialogue in the movie at all. It's actually a silent movie with just music. Every now and then you might see them like mouth words or anything, but you don't actually hear them. So I just kept thinking, like, so what was the point of adding that element where he can't talk anymore because of his voice if we've never been able to hear what he talks like to begin with? This movie is exactly what Silent Night should have been. That's all I gotta say.
I agree. And another movie that's like that, which is kind of badass, is a movie called Boy Kills World with Bill Skarsgård.
I've never seen it. I know it came out a couple years ago. I've heard
Check that out.
I know it came out the same year as The Crow, and a lot of people
Mhm.
said that movie is what The Crow should have been.
Dude, watch it. That is an awesome movie. I'd recommend to everybody watching to check out Boy Kills World. It's definitely worth it. That's more of a modern American take using Asian style film and choreography. Choreography. And that's a great film. But getting back to this one, yes. Yeah, it was a cool element. He doesn't speak, so anyway, our point was that this is an English speaking film for the most part, and
It is definitely like an Italian horror kind of thing where even though Suspiria is an Italian horror film,
yeah,
a lot of the actors in that movie are American, and then even the Italian actors that are in the movie are literally dubbed over with English actors, and that's kind of what they do in this. There are actors in this that you can definitely tell that's them actually speaking, but then there's other times where it's like that is not the actor speaking. Like you can definitely
no,
tell, but I didn't really give a shit honestly because the movie was just so entertaining and so well made to the point where anything whenever a movie's really that great, all the great things can always overshadow the flaws. But when a movie's terrible, those flaws are going to be a lot more noticeable. But thankfully for this movie, that wasn't the case. I thought this was a fantastic movie.
me too. Let's get into the scenes before we get into the finale. Uh, some of my favorite scenes were the first scene with the truck kidnapping the girl. It's hilarious because they put this girl in a trash bag, and then you just see a dude like toss her into the fucking truck, and she's like in a
Yeah,
garbage truck.
he throws her like a fucking rag doll, and I'm like, either this girl's really light or this guy's really strong because he throws that girl like she's a fucking doll.
Well, that was that one dude that's invincible in this fucking movie. So yeah, and he throws her like fucking 20 feet in the air, like
It's
to get her
crazy.
into this truck. And so the truck scene is awesome. That's when I knew that this movie was going to be awesome because it already started showing shit we'd never seen before. I was like,
Absolutely.
yeah, this is it. Another scene that I dug was the ice warehouse when he's going to the warehouse with all the ice in it. That was
Oh
pretty
yeah,
cool too.
that was really awesome.
And then my last one, again, the jail assault. The jail assault is basically the third act. What besides those three, can you name any film or any of the scenes that you really dug?
I do, of course, I do like the truck sequence in the beginning. I thought that was awesome. I do like the sequence where Wang and Naven first meet because they have no idea like whose side they're on. So instead of just stopping to talk for a second, they just decide to fight. And then until Naven finally goes like, "Look, I'm not one of them." And then Wang's finally just like, "Okay," and he just automatically is just like, "All right, whatever." I thought their fight sequence was really fun. I'm trying to think of what else I really
That was
liked.
the nightclub scene, their first
That
meeting when they fight.
exactly, when they lead up to the nightclub scene, yeah. I don't know, man, there's a lot of other great scenes in this film. I do like, specifically where the female sergeant just kinda tells her chief to just go fuck himself, and they're like, "No, we're gonna go save these children." And I like that. I like the fact that it isn't the whole cliche thing where they just don't do anything and they have to rely on the heroes. The
Right.
cops in this movie are actually not useless. They're not just there in the background because a movie needs police in the background to make it look real. They actually do shit, and I really love that.
That was a kind of a funny scene because you see these kids are trying to escape this building. They can't go down because
They're climbing with like a shirts that they tied up to each other.
right, and you could see them hanging from this building, and the police chief is like, "Don't help them, just leave them there. They're fine." And the lieutenant's like, "What the fuck? Like, we got to help these kids. They're fucking hanging there." And they eventually just go and they help. So that that is part of the, I think, the end of the ice warehouse scene. So we're probably on the same page with the scenes that we liked. Other scenes, there are some like little emotional scenes with the daughter and the father because she feels like she's not loved by him, and he's trying to, he's just trying to be a single dad, and he's trying his best, and he's really good to her. But anyway, we'll get, unless you have anything else, we can get to the last half hour of this bad boy.
I would say, as far as like maybe just getting into something like one specific thing that I think could have been improved on, not anything to do with the story. This movie was an hour and 55 minutes, so almost a 2 hour movie. I can
Right.
definitely see a version of this movie just being specifically like an hour 30 minutes. I feel like for this movie, I don't think it needed to be an hour, almost 2 hours long. I feel like this could have been a very, very tight 90-minute action thriller. Like, what do you think? Do you think it was necessary for this to be 2 hours, or can you see this being like a 90-minute version?
Well, it's close. I thought it was only like an hour 53 or something, an hour 50. But you could, there might be some things you could trim, but I don't know from where. Maybe some of the I do know where some of the scenes with the lieutenant lady and her crew. I guess you could have cut those because they're just, we get it. They're trying to establish that they're good people. They're, that we
So
should
they do,
we should
but they
these
do
characters.
focus on them a little bit too much.
Yeah, so you're right. Yes, there is a 90-minute version of this film, but so I guess, yeah, we'll talk about some things that we don't like or thought could have been improved. There's nothing in this movie that I didn't like.
I would say so.
Yeah, there's nothing I would change about it. I mean, it's for me, it's like it's, and we throw the word around a lot, but it really is like a new kind of kung fu masterpiece, man. Like
Yeah.
the fighting that we see, we have never seen before, and that'll just segue right into this last scene. So the last 30 minutes, I shit you not, is just continuous fighting. It does
Yeah.
not stop. And we get in the end here the meeting between Brian Lee, who's the big hulking, unstoppable force. We get Wang and we get Navin, and then the two dudes from the syndicate come in, the Joey Awanga, and then our boy from the Raid 2, who's shooting the bow and arrows the whole movie. Then you're like, oh shit, here we go. And so there's these 5 people that are fighting for a half hour, and it's incredible, dude. Some of the baddest
It's
shit
wild.
I've ever seen. What did you think of that last half hour?
I thought, like you said, it was nonstop action. Like, if you guys were expecting to breathe by the end, you're shit out of luck. That's all I'm going to say. This movie is relentless. And to be fair, there are moments where we do get to spend some time with the characters and we get to understand what they're thinking. But if you're expecting that in the last half, I wouldn't expect that, because you are just going to get straight up action, and there are no breaks until the last maybe 3 minutes, if I'm being generous on that.
Yeah, and it's incredible. So then you've got them, and this is something I've always loved about fight scenes, dude. It's kind of like sports. You always want to see, like, ooh, I want to see that guy versus that guy. I want to see what it would be like for that guy to fight that guy. You know what I mean?
You really get everything you want.
Yes, they mix it up so much, and then as they're fighting, it reveals during this fight that Navin's wife was killed by the arrow guy. He killed her, and that's when he's like, all right, fuck this, I'm gonna destroy this guy. And he ramps up his fighting, and then it's just once I think Brian Lee comes in at the end, like we kind of thought we'd forgotten about him. I thought he was maybe dead or something, but he comes strolling in, well, because he got hit in the head with a sledgehammer. So we're like,
Right.
this guy's got to be fucking dead, right? And he comes strolling in with a head wound, and he starts at it, and he's fighting. It's funny, man. I don't know why, but I had like Curly from the Three Stooges vibes when I was watching him. It was like,
Yeah, you were almost expecting him to go, "Oh, bravo, bravo, come here, boy."
I'm why are you? Yeah, he really did remind me of Curly, and I kept trying to fight that feeling. And so we're not going to tell you how the fight turns out. I mean, I think you could pretty much guess that the good guys are winning this, but man, this is going to be one of those where, I don't know about you, but I'll sometimes go online and just watch certain fights in certain movies. Like the Raid 2, I'm always watching the kitchen scene. I love that scene so much.
Absolutely.
And this is a movie that you're just going to look up the last half hour of fighting when it comes out on YouTube or wherever somebody's going to post it. It's going to be one of those that you'll always watch. So
absolutely.
This movie is well worth watching, guys. Check it out. Like, I can't say enough about it. This is our first action movie that we've talked about, and I was happy. I don't know about you, but when I went to see it, there was actually a lot of people in our theater, and I saw it Thursday at 3:00 in the afternoon.
I saw it at 10:35 for some reason at my theater. I mean, there were other theaters around me that had multiple showings, but my theater specifically that I have a membership for only had one showing. And for me, I'm always that kind of person where I never want to pay for a ticket to a different theater unless it's a movie that's not playing at my theater. So when I saw that it had a 10:35 showing, I'm like, all right, fuck it, whatever. So I did it, and I'm glad I did. Even though I was the only person there, and it was just two people there, they didn't really seem like they were reacting to the movie that much. Even with that, it definitely felt like there was a lot more people in my audience. It's a crowd-pleasing movie that definitely would feel really awesome with the crowd. But even without the crowd, I was still like jumping in my seat, going, "Oh fuck! Oh shit! Holy fuck!" Like it's just so well. And also really interesting too, man, is that I think this movie is rated R, right? Or is it not rated? Or
no, it's rated R. Yeah, definitely.
I find it very interesting how even though this movie is rated R, it's not like overly gory though. I mean, there are definitely some moments specifically with like a lot of the sound effects whenever they're hitting people with hammers and stuff where you can definitely feel the impact,
right?
But it's not an overly gory film. There's blood. There's definitely blood in this movie, but it's not over the top. And I know some people might be disappointed because they want something like Ninja Assassin, where that's a very violent movie. They want stuff like that, but this movie doesn't really focus on a whole lot of gore. It definitely shows blood when it needs to, but it doesn't go over the top with it. And I think I really liked it for that too.
Right. The goriest part of the movie is actually the scene where the son kills every one of the syndicate guys in that room. That's the goriest part of the movie, and it ain't that bad. But this isn't a horror movie. I think it had just the right amount of. I mean, they were breaking bones, they were doing all kinds of shit. And you're right, the sound mix in this movie is what made it. Like, just the sounds, you're like, oh shit, breaking bones. And this movie has made 19.2 million worldwide, so not a lot of people have seen this thing, man. And I hope it picks up on DVD.
It's not really doing well financially, but as far as critically and from audience members, people are loving this movie.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, I mean, thumbs up. This movie was reportedly made for 20 million. So
that's pretty impressive.
Yes, and I don't think they spent a lot on marketing, because I don't remember seeing many commercial or trailers for this until maybe a week or two before it came out. And I was like, oh, that looks cool.
I didn't really see much of that either. I mostly just kind of saw it from every now and then I would see little tiny posts on Instagram of friends of mine that went to go see the movie. I'm like, I don't even know what this is. All right, fuck it, I'll go see it.
Yeah, it's awesome. Let me ask you, as a director, have you ever, or do you want to direct an action movie with good, awesome fight scenes and choreography. Are you thinking of doing that in the future?
I would love to. I think that would be really awesome to be able to actually do. I would love to film an action movie. There are
Yeah.
definitely no plans to do one immediately, but it is something that I have always loved, and it's something I would really like to take time on perfecting if I were to get the opportunity. But to answer it very shortly, rather than me rambling on, absolutely, I would love to do something like this.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Do you have any final thoughts on this film, sir?
Go see it. Go see Toy Story 5 if you're excited for it, but go see Furious after. Just see Furious if you're not interested in seeing Toy Story 5. You don't always have to see the big movie that everybody is seeing. Go see the
Yeah.
Furious. I think even if you're not a fan of kung fu movies, I think there is something in this that you can definitely enjoy. A lot of people always like to complain they don't like kung fu movies or all that stuff because they don't like to
Yeah.
read subtitles. Fair, I get it. Obviously, if I want to read, I'll get a fucking book, depending on the movie. But I think this movie is something that you should definitely experience, and maybe this could open the door for you to discover more kung fu movies because there's a lot of great ones out there, a lot of better ones too. But this movie is definitely going to be a new classic for sure.
Yes, for now, it's in my top. It's in my top 20. Like it's
Oh
up
wow.
there. Like yeah. Well, I'm just talking action wise. Like again, kung fu movies traditionally, especially from the 70s to the 80s, the stories were just kind of like, eh. Nobody really gave a crap. You were just waiting for the action. It didn't really get stories didn't really get good until basically the 90s, and Jackie Chan came, and then Jet Li, and then
Yeah,
they started to do then they
Donnie
started
Yen,
doing, yes, Donnie Yen's awesome. Like that
he
guy,
is.
he's incredible. I like Michael Jai White as a martial artist. I love Wesley Snipes as a martial artist on film, man. Like Wesley Snipes is the shit. And I could go through hundreds of movies that I've seen that, dude.
Michael
There's
Michael
one that
Michael
I don't know
Michael
if you've ever
yeah,
seen.
Michael Jai White has done a lot actually.
Have you seen? I'm just gonna randomly ask you this. Have you seen a movie called Man of Tai Chi with Keanu Reeves?
Man of Tai Chi.
Yes, you got to
No,
check
no,
that out.
no, I don't think I've
Like
seen that one. No.
it's a modern martial arts movie. I think it's in the 2010s, somewhere in there. Um, and it's basically this guy's using Tai Chi, and he decides to use it in a competitive way. And it's basically like Lionheart or any movie you've seen with underground fighting. And Keanu Reeves is
Okay.
awesome in that movie. So if you ever get the time, check that one out. Like I said, I could go over hundreds of kung fu movies, but
Have you
we
ever
don't
seen
have the time.
have you ever seen this isn't really a kung fu movie, but it's kind of like an underground fighting movie. It's kind of cheesy, but I've always had a good time watching it. It's called Gladiator. Obviously not the Russell Crowe one, but the one with Cuba Gooding
Mhm.
Jr.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that because I think we've talked about that before. Yeah, I like Gladiator.
Yeah,
That's
I've
a
always really
kind of a
yeah,
simple.
I've always really
that-
enjoyed that movie. I know it is kind of corny sometimes, and obviously it is kind of hard to like really recommend that movie to people because automatically they're gonna think of the Russell Crowe version. But yeah, I really like that movie a lot.
that movie's cool, man. It's like a Lionheart. It's about basically underground fighting. I like the movie Fighting with um,
Channing Tatum,
Channing Tatum. Yeah, and I'm having a brain fart. The guy from Hustle and Flow.
uh, Terrence Howard.
Thank you. That's a really good movie. Is Fighting? It's kind of basically almost a rip off of Gladiator. He's
Kind of.
but it's a really good movie. And there was another one called like Step Up. There was a bunch that came out in the early
Oh,
2000s.
there was one that it is a massive guilty pleasure of mine. It's not a very good movie, but it has one of my favorite actors of all time. It's the other black guy that's in every movie other than Samuel L. Jackson, fucking Jimon Hansu. Obviously we know
Oh,
him from Gladiator and from Blood Diamond, but the movie I'm talking about is Never Back Down. If you've ever seen that,
I love Never Back Down. I love Never Back Down too. That's what
Michael
I
Jai
was thinking
White.
of. Not Step Up. I said Step Up. That's a dance movie. Never Back Down is the
I
movie
was
I
gonna
was
say
thinking of.
never.
Yeah,
Yeah, never. Oh, go ahead.
Michael Jai White is in Never Back Down too, and that one I really like. But yes, that was the movie I was thinking of. Is Never Back Down, not the
Yeah,
other
which is funny because Never Back Down 2 and like the other ones are completely separate from the first one. And it's funny because I have the first one on Blu-ray. It's a
one.
stupid movie. It's really corny. It's pretty much just a ripoff of Karate Kid, if you really
Hmm.
think about it. But it's honestly kind of a fun movie, honestly. I always have a good time watching that movie.
Yeah, that's the really good one that I enjoy. There's just there's so many good fighting movies. Just I like Undisputed, all of them. I don't know if you've ever seen the Undisputed movies, but they were basically the first ones with Wesley Snipes and Ving Rhames. Wesley Snipes is like,
Michael Jai White's in one of them, right?
yes, he is. That he's in the sequel. So and then Scott Atkins is in the sequels to that. Like those are good movies, dude. If you're just looking for mindless, I don't got to think fighting movies, watch those. Undisputed, they're great. You got anything?
Oh wow, Ving Rhymes, Peter Falk, Michael
Yeah,
Rooker. That's a good
it's a
cast.
good movie. Yeah, it's basically like The Longest Yard in prison. I think Wesley Snipes is like the heavyweight champion of the world, and he gets locked up for something, so he has to go to prison. And Ving Rhames is like the prison champion of boxing, and so obviously there's a corrupt warden that wants to set up a fight, with Warden. It's like The Longest Yard basically,
A,
but
he-
with fighting.
a heavyweight champion gets sent to prison. That sounds like that one movie with Denzel, the Hurricane.
Yes, but did he
That
fight
was a
in
true story.
prison?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
did he?
I don't know if he fought in
Did.
prison. I think he was just trying. I gotta watch the movie again. That's a great movie. I think he was just trying to prove his innocence. But that was also a true story too. That's a great movie.
Yeah, yeah. It's a different direction, but yes. Anyway, fighting movies, great. This one, The Furious, go see it. I dig it. I'm definitely gonna put it on my shelf when it comes out on Blu-ray. Can't wait.
Absolutely.
And this should be out on streaming soon because I don't think it's gonna stay in the theaters for another week or two. I don't
It's
even think it's
it,
gonna be in the theaters
it's
this weekend.
it's unfortunate. I mean, I have a
Mhm.
feeling maybe it's probably doing a lot better in Hong Kong. There's a chance it might be doing better over there actually. But from looking at the box office worldwide, it doesn't seem very likely, which is kind of unfortunate.
Yeah. Well, it is unfortunate because it's a great movie, folks. So check it out. Michael, sir,
Absolutely.
we have something going on this weekend. What do you want to promote, man? Tell the folks what's going on. I'm excited.
We are 5 days away, guys, from the worldwide red carpet premiere of my new movie, Barrett. This is going to be really exciting. If you guys are in the Arizona area, or if you feel like driving, flying, taking a ship, escaping prison, come see this movie. I'll get you in, even if you're wearing your prison outfit. I'll get you a suit so that way the cops won't find you. Ron will be there hosting the event. Come on out. We need to support more independent films because that is how we're going to keep movie theaters still in theaters, and that's how we're going to keep getting these filmmakers jobs. So please come out and support it. It's going to be a really fun time, and I'm really excited. I mean, Ron's already seen it like 10 times, and which is definitely a lot. But come see it, guys. I'm really happy with how this movie came out, and that's all I can say. Come out and see Barrett.
Yes, it's going to be a great time. There's going to be a Q&A afterwards. If you know what, if you happen to be watching the end of this video, which I don't know, if you're watching this video and you come to the theater that day and you find me, I will pay for your tickets. I don't care how many people you are. I will pay for your tickets. If you're watching this, just say, hey, I watched you on the Furious review, and I will take care of you personally, because that's how much the movie means to me, means to Michael Entity, writer, director, and I'm excited, man. It's going to be on Saturday, and it's going to be a good time. So thank you, brother, again for joining me for Sons of Cinema.
This is a lot of
I'm
fun.
Ron. That's my man, Michael Entity, and we will see you all next